Welcome to the Bandana Podcast, where we're calling a spade. Folks, we knew the Indiana Fever, we knew they wouldn't go undefeated the rest of the season, right? We knew they weren't going to beat every single team. We knew that. But what we also thought we knew was that some of the issues that reared its ugly head in the first half of the season may have been ironed out and smoothed out over the All-Star Olympic break. Old habits sometimes are extremely hard to break. We can talk about Caitlin Clark leaving her feet on defense far too many times, giving up three-point shooting. We could talk about that. We could talk about Damaris Dantas throwing up brick after brick after brick after brick. We could talk about that. We could talk about Aaliyah Boston having oil on her hands, grease on her hands, unable to hold a basketball with two hands. We could talk about that. Katie Lou Samuelson, I thought she was a sniper. I thought she was a three-point shooter. We could talk about that. Nalyssa Smith. Let's start with that. Nalyssa Smith. I'm having trouble finding out the positive contributions that you bring to this Indiana Fever team. I am seriously struggling finding a positive, a net positive of anything you bring to this Indiana Fever team. The first 10 games, you had everybody fooled. The last 20 games, time's up. You need to sit on the bench for the rest of the season. In fact, the Indiana Fever need to send you home for the rest of the season. Offensively, you're just kind of there. Defensively, you're just kind of there. You have no awareness that there are literally three defenders collapsing on you. You don't see the bodies around you underneath the basket, and you still decide to go up for layups, getting blocked, getting blocked, getting blocked. Some of the post possessions that I see you being a part of, you being the main wheel in the post, is like, Nalyssa, why aren't you passing the ball out? What are you doing? Why is Chrissy Side still leaving you in the game? What are we doing? Katie Lou Samuelson, you too. I'm starting to struggle finding some net positives for you other than Caitlin Clark seems to be your homegirl. I've given you chance after chance after chance, and you've bricked. At least when Lexi Hull was breaking her layups, breaking her three-pointers, at least I can see defensively she is an additive. Defensively, she is contributing in a positive way. But Katie Lou, I'm sorry, Katie Lou, when you miss those threes, when you miss those two wide open threes to start the game, what are we doing here? You hear that? That's Google talking to me. What are we doing here? I'm starting to say Katie Lou, Nalyssa Smith. Katie Lou can stay on the rotation. Nalyssa Smith just doesn't need to get any minutes at this point. At this point, Nalyssa Smith needs 0 minutes. I'm not sure if Katie Lou's in a slump. I'm not sure what the deal is. But the way she's been playing these last 4 or 5 games, Katie, I need you to make something. I need you to do something. I need you to be a net positive for me to continue to sit here and say, let's keep Katie Lou in the starting lineup. I'm having trouble finding that. Damaris Dantas tonight. Damaris, where do you get off shooting all those threes? Where do you get off attempting all of those three-point shots. You literally had back-to-back wide open corner threes, bricked every single time you shot the ball. How many top-of-the-key three-pointers did you shoot today? I saw you physically move Nalyssa Collier out of your way because you weigh a good 20, 30 pounds more than her, yet you would rather sit and float around the three-point line. Why is that? And to that point, Christy, do you not realize that Dantas is moving Collier out of her way in the post and getting what she wants? But no, you'd rather have Dantas floating around the top of the key, bricking shots. Now I get it. She's a stretch big. But at some point, you have to say, okay, she doesn't have it tonight. Let's get her butt in the post. You got to say at some point, she doesn't have it tonight. Let's take her out of the game. We need to stop riding all the time with what we know. The Indiana Fever came out looking like trash in the first quarter. And then we had a lineup in. We took out Nalyssa Smith. We took out Katie Lou. We put in Tammy Fagbenle. We put in Lexi Hull. We took out Tammy. We put in Dantas. And we started coming back into the game. And then the third quarter comes around and we get a Christy Sides special in the third quarter. Fever come out flat. The Minnesota Lynx run up the lead again. After cutting the game to a 4-point lead, we were down 13 in the first quarter. We fight all the way back at halftime, cutting it to 4. Next thing I know, you blink in the third quarter with our starters in. Boom, Minnesota Lynx back up by 9. And Christy Sides calls a timeout. Nice, good timeout. Good timeout, Christy. But what do we do coming out of that timeout? What adjustments do we make coming out of that timeout? Answer, 0 adjustments. Absolutely 0 adjustments. Not only did we make 0 defensive adjustments, we left Katie Lou Samuelson and Nalyssa Smith in. Christy, we already learned in the first quarter that clearly this isn't their game. Clearly this team has a game plan that makes them useless. And if Katie Lou can't make a 3-point shot to save her life, then I'm sorry, Katie. In this game, you are useless. If Nalyssa Smith can't get to the rim, get any rebounds, make a layup, do anything, Nalyssa Smith, you are useless. And Christy Sides, for you to continue to ride with those two women in the third quarter while the game is still within reach, you need to take some blame for that. You need to look in the mirror and say, you know what? Maybe I rode with my starters a little bit too long. I didn't put in Lexi Hull or Tammy, or I didn't put them in fast enough. Instead, I waited for the Minnesota Lynx to run up a double-digit lead. Instead of using my mind and saying, you know what? That 5 that we had in the second quarter, they kind of brought us back in the game. Instead of thinking that way, you said, you know what? That 5 that the Minnesota Lynx completely trashed in the first quarter, I'm going to roll with that 5. What? Why? Why would you do that, Christy? That's my question to you. Why would you do that, Christy? Now, despite all of that, the Indiana Fever still had a chance to win this game. Despite Nalyssa Smith and Katie Lou being invisible tonight, despite Damaris Dantas breaking every single 3 she shot, despite Christy Sides not being folks, we talked about her substitution packages in the past before. Against the Phoenix Mercury, against the Seattle Storm, you will see Dantas and Lexi Hull are the first 2 in every single time. Great consistency. And then what happens? Tammy gets healthy again. Christy Sides, what do I do? where she fits in, but don't completely ruin the flow of your rotations that have been winning you games as of late. If you see somebody needs an extra breather, then, okay, I'll take out Aaliyah and then I'll put in Tammy. Okay, I'll take out Dantas and then I'll put in Tammy. But if this is her first game back, why are the rotations looking like she's completely healthy, ready to play every single minute out there? Ease her back into the flow of things without compromising your entire rotation. Because as soon as I saw Tammy was the first one off the bench, here we go. Here we go. Substitution packages matter, Christy. And despite all of that, they were still in the game, folks. But unfortunately, they couldn't hit any of their shots to make up for all of the bad coaching, Nalyssa Smith, Katie Lou problem. Shooting 24% from three, folks, I don't think any team's going to win that game. 7 for 29 from three, 43% from the field. Minnesota Lynx shot lights out. They shot the lights out of that ball. Were a good amount of them contested shots? Yeah, some of them were contested. But are we going to act like that first quarter they weren't wide open? Weak side defensive help was non-existent. Whether it was Courtney Williams or Heidemann, I believe her name is, whoever was in that weak side corner was just splashing it all game long. And then in the second half, you see Kayla McBride sit in the corner and start splashing it all game long. So yeah, some of them were contested, but a large amount of those threes were wide open due to piss poor team defense. Due to piss poor team defense. Indiana Fever did have a shot to win this game. Make no mistake about it. Despite everything seemingly going against them, if they would have hit their shots, they would have won tonight's game. And that is the double-edged sword, right? When they don't hit their shots, we can always say, well, they didn't hit their shots. Forgetting the dead weight. Forgetting the bad coaching decisions. Forgetting a terrible shooting night from a stretch big. Against the Seattle Storm, we made those shots. Against the Phoenix Mercury, we made those shots. Tonight, we didn't. And we needed a coach to help us out. But unfortunately, that's our coach. Did she get aggressively outcoached? I wouldn't say aggressively outcoached, but I would say she clearly got outcoached tonight. Team's got to step it up. Team's got to make shots. I would hate to start messing with the starting lineup 31 games into the season, but I'm not sure how much longer Nalyssa Smith should really have a spot in that lineup. If Katie Lou continues to brick every single shot, come playoff time, it's going to crush us. It is going to be the reason why we lose these games. Because we're playing 4-on-5. Because we're playing 3-on-5. Caitlin Clark had another 25-5 game. Okay. Kelsey Mitchell came alive. Kelsey Mitchell, folks, we need Kelsey Mitchell. Aaliyah Boston, Aaliyah, we got to go back to the natural hair color. Take that pink highlight out of your head. It's seeping in too much. This game came down to Christy Sides playing 3v5 and not making any single shots. It's the Ben Dana Podcast. We're calling a spade a spade. I appreciate all the support. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Who do we assign the blame to? If there is a pie chart, 100%, how are we divvying up the blame? Does Chrissy Sides get 40%, 50%, 70%? Does Nalyssa Smith get 20%, 30%? Katie Lou, 15%, 20%. Damaris, 5%, 8%. Caitlin Clark, 10%. You guys let me know. Who do you think should receive a bulk of the blame? Should it be Christy Sides? Between Christy Sides and not making a shot and playing 3v5, cards were definitely stacked against us tonight. We'll be back in the venue on Monday. I appreciate everybody for stopping by the venue. The chat was livid today. You guys are rocking in the chat. Salute to everybody leaving comments, likes. Appreciate all you guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'll see you later. Take it easy.